Let me fix this Elvis hair here. Whoa, look at it. It's hard to even put this back. It's so thick. Hey, welcome to Behind Enemy Lines with Terry and
That's
Mike.
right.
So, oh my God, we got lots of stuff to talk about today. So, our main topic is going to be Maduro, Venezuela. I know we got some new folks that are starting to watch too, and we're going to talk about him being a drug lord, but the things that he's been doing to affect Chicago, from the Smartmatic to the Venezuelan Trend Alarm, right? And a
Yep.
lot of leftards are protesting and supporting this fucking weirdo. So that's our main subject or topic we're going to talk about today. We're also going to briefly, before that, touch on two things. One, we're going to talk about Minneapolis, right? Just a little bit about the hypocrisy and what's going on up there, right? And then, of course, with the new developments for the local people from the state of Illinois, the communist state of Illinois, we got an update. Pritzker's boy, Joseph Severino was booted off the ballot today, even though he's lied right up through yesterday that he's got all the ballots. I got all the signatures. Everyone's lying. I'm good to go. Matter of fact, I'm the next governor, right? This guy is a narcissistic, pathological, lying scumbag, creepy bully, hypocritical, stalking piece of shit. And yes, if I could get away with it, I would revert back to the Terry from the 1980s and beat him with a fucking baseball bat. But I changed my life, right? So I did change my life. So I wouldn't even think like that. I'm just like having a little, I don't know, a little brain fart. So he went
Yeah,
after
yeah.
so many. Yeah, sorry. And Mike knows this, right? He went after so many women, especially, and he
That's
he
what predators
degraded.
do.
Yeah, he degraded him, he bullied him, he threatened them, I mean, from from county, township chairwomen to committeemen to just a mom, grassroots people. He tried to go after everybody, radio DJs, Tom Renz, Emerald Robinson, Gateway Pundit, your friend, Mike, what's his name? The Newsmax guy. He
Oh, yeah,
threatened
Bill.
yeah, everybody. And so I think, we're really excited that this piece of shit got taken off the ballot. And there's a reason. There's a reason that he got no support, no donors from Illinois. He got $50,000 from some billionaire outside the state. And I think he had another 6,000 from somebody outside the state. And then he said he had all these grassroots from Carbondale to the Wisconsin border, and we're like, we're gonna take over everything, right? The fucking idiot couldn't get 1,500 signatures by himself out of the 5,000 required. He had 6,500, and then me and my whole bunch of friends, we threw him off. He hired a bunch of people from outside the state. The Democrats helped him hire these guys, these people to come in out of state, and they lived in Des Plaines, and they were paid. They were paid to get his signatures. That is wrought with fraud, right? And that
Yeah.
explains why, hey, Mike, that explains why Homer Simpson was on one of the signatures.
Oh, exactly. People that lived at restaurants, bars,
Yeah,
storage units.
yeah,
Um,
right.
no, I mean, this guy's a clown. He's been a clown. Now he's just saying, oh, since he's off the ballot, now he thinks he's taken over the Republican Party, but that's not going to happen either. The guy's
Yeah,
totally delusional, and really, I mean, he needs to go visit a mental institution, especially with all the threats and other stuff this guy's doing and threatening the constant lawsuits, trying to blackmail people into endorsing him. It's got to stop.
yeah. And for those of he said I was a gay stripper that ate a banana out of a man's crotch. I mean, come on. I got a bunch of friends from the South Side that watch. I didn't even know how to dance. And obviously, I wasn't gay. Well, my name is kind of gay, Terry. It's kind of like a transgender game, a gay name. I hate my name. I would go out with my Jimmy Feccarata was supposed to be on the show tonight to talk about Severino, how he lied about Cicero. I would go out with, Jimmy, Joey, Gino, Anthony. Oh, I'm Terry. It's would be out hitting on chicks. And so it was kind of uncut. And then so I didn't name my son after me. His name is Anthony. Anthony. Anthony Newsom. So here we are. God almighty. I can't tell you how nice it was. So um real quick to close out on this piece of shit. Yeah, I told you for the last year he went after and brutalized me, my family, my job, my friends. I said he was a liar. I said he was a pathological narcissistic liar. I said it over and over again, right? So everything about this guy is a fucking lie, including being the nominee for the gubernatorial primary. He said that he had a Harvard degree. He said he had a law degree. He said he grew up in Cicero. We're going to show that in a minute. He said he fought 300 times at least. He fought every day of his life. Um, Everything about this man is a lie. He's bankrupt. He's bankrupt. It's all out there. He supported Black Lives Matter. He was a never Trumper. It's all out there. It's on my page or other pages. Mike, no, it's on X.
Oh
It's
yeah,
everywhere, right? I mean, everything about this guy, including saying that he had the signatures and that he wasn't getting thrown off the ballot. Now, today, this morning, he didn't even show up for the court. Think about it. When you spend all this time, money, and effort for the last year running for governor, and then you have your hearing where your ass is on the line to stand the ballot. Guess who didn't show up because he's a pussy? He didn't even show up to his own hearing. Swear to God, he did not show up to his own hearing. And last night he said, I heard I might be thrown off the ballot after he said I was a liar. He knew he was off the ballot. He
of
knew. That's why he didn't
course.
show up. I mean, what a coward. Coward. So thank God this piece of shit will be out of our out of our visual sight on all the social media platforms. His voice, I'm tired with seeing his voice, his gay eyes and his psycho face and all this weird kind of ooh, where he talks and stuff. So one last thing. Remember, he said he went to Cicero, just like I said to show a Harvard diploma. I said to show a law degree, and he still has a law degree on his LinkedIn. He's lying. Just if you want to look it up. So
Yeah.
I had a friend send me on the classmates who took screenshots. So I sorry, it's a little blurry here. And I kept saying, well, show us where you graduated from grammar school and high school in Cicero, grammar school and high school. Just show us your diploma. He didn't show us any of his degrees. He never, ever, ever, ever showed us any of his degrees because he don't have any. He never went to college. So here we go. To see if you can see up there, Willowbrook. I gotta see. I'm blind here. Can you see?
Oh
Does it show on the type? Can you scroll that down a little bit? It's Joe
yeah, I
Severino,
moved.
all team.
Yeah, give me a second to fix this. Boop,
Yeah, I
boop.
heard he used to be a wide receiver on the football team. Meh. Hey, Jimmy Faccarata. Jimmy was supposed to be on the show, but he couldn't make it. Willowbrook High School, guys. You know what Willowbrook High School supports? Lombard. What did I tell you? He grew up Lombard. He lived with his dad. His dad worked at Salerno Funeral Home. He was a janitor for the funeral parlor. And by the way, Severino told me his dad had life in prison. Then when I first met him, I dropped my guard. I thought he was one of the guys. And he said, "Oh yeah, my dad was life in prison. I know Feccarata and all those guys, and they let my dad out of life in prison because University of Chicago did a vaccine test and he survived." I found out it was all a joke. His dad's a liar. Severino, right there. What's the next one? There's just we got a couple of them, right?
Yeah, we got
I'm
a
sorry.
couple of these.
Show Joe Severino, and there's one more. So a friend of mine shared these with me, and his daughter's name's Carmen. I wonder if that's his sister or something. Wow.
Looks like he was in the choir.
Yeah, I bet.
That's what it
Yeah,
says. Senior choir,
does it? Where?
right at the top. Senior choir, and then it's got his name under it.
Oh, good air. No wonder he was on the bike path, Jimmy Fack. I mean, I never doubted you. I never doubted you, man. There's rumors about what he got caught doing on the bike path. So, so that's that with him. We'll hopefully move on. Never hear from that piece of shit again. Okay. I think
Yeah.
I
Well, I don't,
everybody block him so him and his boyfriend Maxie Pad Rice can like text each other and Facebook and do all their messaging together and that other whack job Cleveland Rocio. Okay, now to the important stuff. Before we get into the main topic with Maduro, we want to briefly touch on what happened, with Minneapolis and the ICE officer and that woman that got shot in the head, right? All this craziness, right? And I said this a few years ago. The left is trying to start. The left is trying to start their second civil war. I
yeah.
mean, I believed it then, and I think I'm more confident now that I was right because everything they're doing, and they're in worse shape policy wise and support wise than ever. And this just reinforces it, right? This is their George Floyd moment that they're
Dude,
trying to
they might
recreate.
have. They, I got breaking news too. We were talking just before the show. There were two people shot in Portland by ICE. Guess what? There was a TDA arrest, Trinidad Agua, and they were trying to run over ICE agents again. Two of them shot. These two lived. But yeah, two TDA. That just happened in Portland in the last hour.
Very good. Very good. Hey, anybody on Facebook? We're on a bunch of platforms. We're not very technically sophisticated. So any questions, I'll check on Facebook about anything we're talking about.
Yeah, and
So,
one other housekeeping note, real quick. You guys usually watch on Rumble. There's some issue with Rumble right now. We can't stream out to it. It's not an error. Something's going on with Rumble.
oh, and then before we're done with the show, we got a super, super, super cool guest next Tuesday. The guy that wrote the book, and I can't remember. I got to look up on my tag unless Mike has a way better memory than mine. I got to see my lumps on my head, and 1980s were rough on my brain, so I can't remember shit except Joseph Arena. But I can't remember anything. But we had a really good. What did he write the book on? What's his name?
I'm
The
I'm pulling it
uh,
up right now. I can't remember the book.
fuck. It's a big. So anyway, we'll talk. We'll look at it while I'm talking here. So that woman was shot, right? So the left said she's a mother. She's got a kid. Her spouse has, she has two kids. Her spouse has a kid. She just moved there. She's from Missouri. So here's the real story. Not that it has anything to do with it, but she's a LGBTQ radical dyke that was there with her dyke girlfriend, or I don't know which one looked like a husband. They put up a picture. We don't have it because we didn't plan on talking about it. They both
She
look
looked
like
a little retarded to me.
yeah, they both look like bull dykes, right? And I'm sorry that she got killed. Um, but
Well,
she
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
yeah, yeah. So, who gives a and I'm being sarcastic, right? Who gives it's just because she has a kid. How many people get killed, go to prison, create crimes that have children? My oldest daughter was a month old. I had to go to prison. So I could have said that to the judge, just like they're trying to say about the legals. I should have brought my 1 month beautiful daughter with me at the time and said, I got a baby. Don't please don't send me to jail. They don't give a fuck about separating us from our children, the
No.
American citizens, but all of a sudden they care about trying to largo Venezuelans or Cubans or Mexicans or whatever. So that's a bunch of bullshit. So you can't use that. You can't use that as an excuse. I feel bad for the kids. It's not their fault what happened,
Yeah.
but the left is trying to use it to pry in our hearts, right? And pull on our heartstrings and act like this bad agent. Well, this woman was one of the main organizers, and these ICE agents, and this ICE agent specifically who got shot, was dragged earlier this year by someone else down the street, just like what happened here in Chicago, and they killed that guy, right?
Yeah.
So, another thing, she was part of interfering with the ICE agents, right? I don't know how
Yes.
long she was, and then they were trying to interfere with them. The agents got stopped. One of them got stuck. They were attacking the car, other people. She was purposefully trying to block it and park horizontally there. That's why
Yeah.
her car went away. It wasn't from parallel parking. She was trying to maneuver her car to like T-bone in front of his car to keep the first agent's vehicle from going forward, right? And then the agents got out, and then everyone saw the video. One agent reached in, asked her to get out. She wasn't listening. She started backing up. He reached in and tried to open her door, and she kept going. And then they say, "Oh, she turned her wheels to go around the agent, the one in front of the vehicle." She was trying to like escape, and the agent just happened to be in front of her, right? And thank God, what they're not really talking about that much, right? The agent that was in front of the vehicle, thank God that goofy bitch was on a icy condition. If it was dry, he would have been dead. He wouldn't
Yeah.
have had the chance to defend himself. He wouldn't have had the chance to shoot that woman who would have ran him over. And think about it, she had no traction. So they're not talking a lot about that yet. I hope they will. And so that was one of the things that saved this man's life. Her wheels, I mean, she wasn't able to get the traction to move forward and plow that guy over, and he had the time to shoot her to save himself and get out of the way. So again,
Yeah.
it's awful. Here's another thing that pisses me off, right? She shouldn't be murdered for that. Well, it's unfortunate she got murdered, but guess what? We just had the anniversary of 5th year anniversary, January 5th, right? Ashley Babbitt, a military vet, 112-pound woman, was shot in the face and killed and murdered for
Yeah.
trespassing.
And Roseanne Boylan, she was beat to death by a cop, beat to the death by Lila Rose, or by Lila Morris. Sorry, not Lila Rose. Lila Rose, anti-abortion activist. Lila Morris beat her to death at the club. The people out there, like I know, I've interviewed people that were right there where it happened. She was unconscious, and this police officer wouldn't stop hitting her with a steel baton. She got killed. Yeah, the media is out there right now trying to make this woman into a hero,
Yeah.
make her as sympathetic as possible, but everybody knows what she did. She was part of Ice Watch. She was there. She'd been harassing them all day. And then nothing was done. She wasn't arrested or anything else. That's part of the problem. We need to start arresting these people before it escalates to this level where they're running people over. If you're interfering with a federal investigation, that's already a crime. If you're preventing them from doing their job, we need to just start hauling them off to jail then instead of waiting until they almost kill somebody. But yeah, I mean, like I said, play stupid games, play stupid prizes. Maybe it'll make the left happier if they just think of this as a really late term abortion, and then that'll bring that smile back onto their faces.
Hey, I got 2 comments from our buddies, Mickey Scornavaco. He's a real Italian from Cicero, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he lost. I was up there. He had a great event this week, and unfortunately, Mickey lost his he moved so far up north, he lost his Italian Chicago accent. It's kinda like I'm talking to a regular guy. And then, he goes, "Severino's an authentic loser." And then, we got Shane, another guy from Cicero. So we got the Dago and the Polak from Cicero. And Shane says, "Bye bye, Severino." So I had to throw that in. Anyone else got any comments? Please feel free to jump in here. Um, what else? I've lost my train of thought on my little memory here. Um, hey guy, I see you're calling me. I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm on the show. All right. And I know you know that. So stop calling me.
Well,
Um,
we can tie this into it real quick and then go into the other story since they're trying to
yeah,
make this woman into a martyr. We've got this from Chicago. You sent this to me earlier. The
yeah,
march on CPD and ICE. Apparently the National Guard's being called up in Minnesota now, in Minneapolis. But they're trying to make this into something. They want a civil war. Make no doubt about it. That's what Tim Walz and Jacob Frey or Fry or whatever his name is. That's what they're trying to turn this into, and it's just to distract from all this fraud that's going on, not just in Minneapolis. I mean, it's coming out here in Ohio, in Maine, L.A., Chicago. And it's just getting started. I mean, they're just heating up because it isn't just the Somalians. This is going to expand to plenty of other illegal immigrants that are here right now, invading our country, stealing money right out of our wallets. And these Democrats are just laughing all the way to the bank about it.
yeah, yeah. Did that meme? Did you download that meme I sent you with the music in the background or no? I thought you said you
Yes,
might
I
have.
did.
So before we move to the next one, I put a little music here. I know some of my Christian friends aren't going to think it as funny as the rest of us are, but go ahead.
Another one bites the dust, and another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust, hey, hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
There we go. There we go.
Yep. And again, this is what she wanted. She died doing what she loved, and that was being a lunatic and trying to keep illegal invaders here within our borders. This wingnut ran off to Canada to avoid Trump. For some reason, showed back up here.
The that chick?
Yeah, she'd moved to
Oh,
Canada earlier this year to get away from the fascist Trump regime, but somehow ends up back here, ruining ruining her own life. I do feel sorry for her kids, but I don't feel sorry for her.
yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I mean, the officer would have been dead if it was
Yeah,
the different conditions. I mean, without a doubt. So
pretty
it's
much.
so we are going to pivot to Mr. Maduro, right? And this the other crazy leftist. Oh my God, they and you chime in when I'm done here, Mike. But the
Yeah.
hypocrisy of these fucktards is crazy, man. They all agreed. Matter of fact, Joe Biden, and I forgot to send that, had a 20 mil is either 15 or $20 million head.
25.
And then Trump bumped it up to 25. He bumped it up
Okay.
5, but it was Biden who first put it out on him. And he brought it up to 25, and then Trump brought it up to 25 from either 20 or 50, whatever, it doesn't matter. And
Okay.
then he recently brought it up to 50, right? So, I mean, they're the ones that first initiated it. They're all the ones. Matter of fact, they tried. Schumer was giving Trump shit, saying, "Well, why didn't you get Maduro?" This was like last time he was in, or something like that. I forgot. And so they're just ginning things up. They want another war. I'm telling you guys, they are trying to start their second civil war. They are.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So you guys got to be ready. You got to get involved. You got to help all of us, right? You got, when I say that, you don't have to go and confront these scumbags. You don't have to, you know, kick Joe Severino's grifting ass off the ballot, help at school boards, help stuff envelopes, speak out at a school board, try to recruit people to become. There's so many different things you can't sit on the sidelines. Look how organized these Democrats are.
Yeah.
Last Saturday they had a last minute rally downtown Chicago. There's about 500 people there. It's
Yeah.
all organized. The money, the signs were all the same signs all over the United States.
Yeah. And it's all Soros money that does it. They fund these things. They had signs printed within like 12 hours of this guy getting picked up in Venezuela and brought back here. It's unbelievable. They were at the printing press in the morning, running off these signs, organizing these riots, rallies, whatever you want to call them, and they get it done. Yeah, I mean, not everybody's got tons of money to sink into a campaign. Not everybody can run for office, but every one of us can give up a day off and go volunteer for a good candidate, go phone bank, knock on doors, do something. I mean, if we want to save this country, we've got to get off our asses and start doing something and not just being keyboard warriors, because that's not going to solve the problem. We've got to get out there. Like you said, Terry, like, it doesn't mean you got to go confront these lunatics, but if you're in a position where you can do that, it doesn't take much intimidation to get these people to step back and step down. They're used to being backed up by the police, protecting them in places like Minnesota, and even in Chicago. I mean, you and I were talking off air about Nick Sorter. I don't know if you want to get into that yet, but
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go.
yeah, so Sorter, hopefully you guys saw this video he put out this morning, and he was getting mobbed by these Looney Tunes up there for, again, uncovering Somalian fraud in Minnesota and then reporting back on this stuff, and the police wouldn't help him. 911 hung up on him. They told him they couldn't get to his location, to go to another location. They wouldn't tell him what location to go to, and the operator just hung up on him. I mean, these people are, if they're not Antifa, they're Antifa adjacent, and especially in cities like Portland or in Minneapolis. I mean, the police chief in Minneapolis wants to arrest ICE agents, but his dumb ass is smart enough to know federal supremacy. He can't just go around arresting them for doing their job, but they're playing to the cameras because they're trying to gin up more lunatics that will try to ram ICE agents or put themselves between ICE and these illegal alien criminals they're arresting and deporting. I don't know. The DOJ has got to find their testicles, but it's also more of us need to stand up and do something about this so they stop.
Yeah, in the city of Chicago, I saw earlier today. I'm trying to find it. They're demanding, the Marxist organizations. They're having a protest coming. I'll be going to some of these protests. They're demanding that the police arrest ICE for traffic violations. It's like,
Right.
they're fucking nuts. There's nuts. So, hey, want to get that Biden that little video clip up?
Yeah, yeah.
So another comment from Mickey here. He fucking hates Severino as much as I do. Everybody does. Severino's a liar, a wage thief, fake Harvard, not a lawyer. Bye, you scumbag. FAFO. Yeah,
Right.
that's what happens when you send a pangender after a man.
That's right. All right, here we go. It's a video back from the Biden regime.
Quickly turn to Venezuela, where Maduro once again demonstrated his complete disregard for democratic norms and proceeded with his illegitimate inauguration. As President Biden emphasized during his meeting with President-elect Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia on Monday, January 6, we believe that it is essential that the will of the Venezuelan people is respected. In coordination with our partners, we've given Maduro and his representatives every opportunity to restore democracy, but they haven't. So today we are building on all of our previous actions and taking further major actions. We announced new sanctions on key Maduro-aligned officials as a part of our efforts to hold them accountable, and we imposed more visa restrictions totaling nearly 2,000 individuals. We also increased the reward amount to $25 million for Nicolas Maduro and his so-called Minister of Interior as part of the Department of State's Narcotics Rewards Program. Quickly.
God, I think me and Mick are gonna do that to Max Rice, Joe Severino, Cleveland Rocio, and that Maria chick. Oh, that's a drill. Did you guys hear that? It was a drill. Oh my God! I wonder what
Si
happened to
colaboras,
these guys.
todo va a salir bien, todo va a estar tranquilo. No hace falta que te estén cagados, relájate, papi.
Anyone speak Spanish that's watching? Post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Stacy said Biden was the worst. Hey, Stacy. All right,
Well, it's,
so huh?
it's incredible. Something like that. It's so simple. Even the Biden regime could get it right. What was going on in Venezuela? They didn't do anything about it. But again, now they're all pretending somehow Trump's a monster for kidnapping this dictator and freeing a country. And again, goes back years. This guy's stole an election. Even the Bidens were smart enough to know that. But now all of a sudden, I do love some of these random act of journalism that happened over the weekend, though, with Chris Murphy and others actually getting called out for Chuck Schumer telling Trump to go get him. Murphy, the same thing, saying, "Oh, if you're going to go do things around the world, why not get rid of Maduro?" And then he does it, and they all of a sudden, they all have brainworms. They pretend they never said that, and suddenly it's a bad thing to go extricate him. It wasn't a kidnapping. This guy knew exactly what was going on. He's a narco terrorist, and we've removed him. And look, it's working. Colombia is now begging for to work with us. So it worked. Now he's got to worry about Scheinbaum down in Mexico.
Yeah, so I didn't know that Schumer thing was this week when I saw it. So that was just recent. Thank God. Look, what
Yeah.
assholes. This shows what crazy hypocrite nut jobs these people are, right?
Yeah. They have no morals, no principle. They'll change them at any time, and the media runs cover for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So last week when I was at the Maduro event, the rally, which is just I don't know if I put it out there. I was interviewed by both me and my friend Andy. We're interviewed by NBC and WGN. I'm kind of shocked. Obviously, they didn't put all the good stuff in there, but they did, listen to what we had to say and put some of it in there. And ironically, at the Federal Plaza downtown, it's all Marxist. I'll post it up later today at the signs, and all the sponsors were everything under the sun. Chicago is the epicenter of Marxism, right? Obama, Saul Alinsky, and all that shit. We're the worst of the worst. And so those were the organizations that were there with all their signs. And fortunately, Andy speaks fluent Spanish, which I didn't even know. And this little illegal woman, I didn't have to talk to her. I didn't even talk to her. Andy did. She was selling candy. Andy's a very nice guy. He's such a nice, kind of soft-spoken, big, tall guy. I think he was a liberal. He's. I'm saying that in a nice way, Andy. If you're watching. And so she's selling candy out of the kindness of his heart. He goes and buys some candy from her, and then he comes back and because he talked to her. This woman is from Venezuela, right? So all these white liberals that are my age and over, there's some younger ones, but mostly like just white liberal scum that were standing on the megaphones and screaming, and multiple cameras from all over the place were there and saying how they stand with the Venezuelan people and how this is awful. Matter of fact, they even criticized and said it was Mossad that was helping the uprising in Iran that's causing the people in Iran that want to get out from the thumb of these ayatollahs. And if you
Yeah.
remember, you old people or young people in history, back in the 70s, Iran looked pretty hot, right? Now they're walking around burqas and all that bullshit, right? And so these Marxists are pissed off at the people that are trying to get their freedom in Iran, and they're blaming the Jews, right? These very same people, the very same people that are saying we stand with the Venezuelan people. I'm like, with Dana, I'm like, what the fuck? I go to Venezuelan people are standing in Venezuela now, happy, And
Yeah.
then Andy buys the candy and he comes over. He's like, Tara, he goes, this lady doesn't speak a lick of English. She's got a baby like wrapped up like an Eskimo on her back. She's only like real short. I mean, yeah. And then she had an 8-year-old boy with her, and they both had little boxes of selling the M&Ms and all that shit. And he said she had no clue that these leftist Marxists were here supporting Maduro. She's from Venezuela. And he goes, I asked her, and she didn't even know that Maduro was arrested. This was last Saturday.
Yeah.
And then he said he asked her, what did she thought about him? And he's in jail. And she's like all happy. And she's like, he belongs in jail, and said he was no good. So I go, oh my God, we got to get this on camera. And then I agreed with Andy. Remember, I said he's a very nice guy. Didn't want to get her face on the camera for the purposes of our show, right? I mean, I don't want her here. I don't want her kid here. Both kids. I'd want her to go back to where she belongs, where she came from. But at the same time, I don't want to film her face. And I know, Holman and all those guys. And, I'm adamantly against these illegals here. But I filmed her from the back, and it's out there on my X and Facebook. And Andy once again talked to her and translated so that we could have the interaction. I think he bought another piece of candy from her, and and then he translated to me. And so the irony is that we have all these leftist scumbags, and the one real Venezuelan person is in the audience, and she's saying that how bad he is, and she wants him in jail. Right?
Yeah.
And they're standing up there saying they stand with the Venezuelan people. It's everything about these people is like Severino. The Democrats are everything about them is a lie. Their whole life's a lie. Their purpose is a lie. They deflect. They like everything he accused me and all our friends on here that were attacked. Mickey, well, we're all snitches. We're gay. We're gay, right? Who's gay? Who got caught on the bike path? So that's kind of the MO of the Democratic Party,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
dude, if they had known that she was supporting what Trump did removing Maduro, they probably would have tried to have her deported. They probably would have brought her down to ICE themselves and dropped her off with her kids so they could deport her, just like they're trying to do to Nicki Minaj now for speaking at a Turning Point event.
Oh, really? Is she getting a backlash?
Yeah, there's 200 some odd thousand leftists have signed some online petition to have Nicki Minaj's citizenship revoked and her to be deported back to wherever, Trinidad, I think.
Oh,
But
really?
I mean,
She's from. Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's who these people are. They're psychopaths.
yeah. So we could talk about Maduro, right? So the guy was not even legitimately elected. One thing that I totally forgot about, and it might be it definitely is out there on Facebook. I interviewed with Emerald Robinson on Mike Lindell TV earlier this week about the 5th-year anniversary of January J6. I
Yeah.
think it was or was it last week? I don't know. I can't even keep track.
2 days ago.
See, I told you about the bumps on my head, the fights, the drugs. Can't remember. Matter of fact, I call my wife by my ex-wife's name sometimes. It's a joke, ladies. I'm joking. I don't ever do that. At least this last time. So anyway, Emerald said that when we were doing the show, the Smartmatic machines, the electronic machines that we're all talking about, the cheating. Did you guys know they're from Venezuela?
Yep.
Did you know? I mean, I know you know that, Mike. You remember everything, right? So,
Well, yeah, and I worked for Mike Lindell at Lindell TV their first 3 years. So,
God, you know that shit inside and out. Then, yeah. So look it up, you guys. It's from Venezuela, right? And that's what Hugo Chavez and those guys used, and that's how the system was initially built. It was leveraged overseas. And Mike, you can talk more about it. Why don't you pick it up here? Explain about how it got initiated there and came here. And then what I learned from Emerald is that they first started in Chicago. So go ahead.
yeah, I mean, like, this is a known commodity. Everybody knew about these machines and the corruption. Even the Democrats used to be against them, 10 years ago before they started utilizing them to steal elections in 2020 for themselves. Yeah, everybody knew the software's corrupted. There's a reason they don't use any of these machines in Europe, and that's because you can't secure them. I mean, the first company to develop electronic voting machines back in around the year 2000, 99. I'm blanking on the guy's name. It's Curtis something or other. He wrote a program called 5149 in just a few minutes and was able to insert that and then change election results. And this is known. This is why he went over to Norway, went all the world telling people about this. But yeah, Venezuela specifically, They were building machines that had back doors. This was one of the selling points on them, is that you could go in and manipulate elections. And I think that's one of the real concerns the left has right now with them having Maduro in custody, because apparently he's got the evidence. He knows where this is essentially what he was holding on to to negotiate with. So there's a lot of concern among the left right now that the 2020 election will be unwound, and it's starting to already in Georgia. But this puts a nail in the coffin of the electronic voting machines everywhere if Maduro cooperates on this, and I assume he will, because the guy kind of looks like a pussy.
Yeah, and this goes back what I tell you guys. They have to start another civil war, especially if this stuff comes to fruition that Mike just talked about. Right? They have
Yeah.
to start a civil war because they're just so fucked up. So some of the leftist things that they're complaining about, um, and God, if I would have remembered, I would have showed some of my interactions. One of the news things these lefts when we go and confront them, and Ben and all these other guys as well, um, they don't talk anymore. They're getting smart because they know we make them look like assholes, right? So most of them don't want to talk. No comment. Don't want to talk. So we had a couple people that talked, and then I talked about Maduro and the drugs. And even when the first boat was bombed, um, by Trump, the first couple boats, you would see the talking leftist, hypocritical Democrats saying, "Well, these boats can't even make it to the shores of the United States. They're not, they can't make it to the shores." It's like, okay, first of all, they could always refuel or stop in Mexico or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they first said. Then they secondly said, "Well, the DEA says that." This guy told me this in Chicago. The DEA said that there's no fentanyl on those boats. It's only cocaine. I'm like, okay, does that make it better? Right,
Yeah.
right. And and they're bushels of coke, right? I mean, big bales. I'm sorry, not bushels, bales of cocaine. And then what they don't take an account to is that that's pretty much true. But when the stuff gets here, or even if it gets into the hands of the Mexicans, right? So a lot of times they'll bring it up to Mexico too, and that's where they're going to bring it in. So they're bringing it from South America over sea to land to the cartels and passes it off to them. That's where they put the fentanyl in there, right?
Yes.
Or it gets sometimes here, gets called what's called reconstituted in the United States, and they break it down and they use inositol, and they do, I could, I'm going to do a little conversation coming up about my background in the '80s, working with these different cartels before I changed my life, right? So I know all of that stuff and what they do here in Chicago and stuff. It gets reconstituted, and I'll explain how I learned that from cartel guys. So that's when they put the fentanyl in here. Back then, they didn't. There was no such thing. Thank God. And then the next thing was that these politicians were saying, remember, they first said they couldn't make it to the shores of the United States, right? Those boats weren't capable, right? Then they said it was only coke, not fentanyl. And then they said, well, you know, intelligence tells us that all those drug boats are going to Europe. It's like, hold on, man. You just got through telling us that it couldn't go to the United States. And if you
Were they going
see
to sail to Europe?
they're open bow boats, right? So it just shows everything that comes out these Democrats' mouths is a lie. Yes, Republicans lie. I became a Republican committeeman and out there, I'm fighting for our kids, not the Republican Party. But
Yeah.
I became a Republican because they're the lesser of two evils. They're the lesser of two evils, right? And the only they that I mean, I do believe that. I mean, they're liars and, scumbags as well. One of the things that I don't like about the Republican Party, adamantly don't like, is they're cowards. They don't know how to
Yes.
fight. They don't know how to confront. They don't know how to expose. We go back to the Seven Rhino. I told Kathy Solly, the chairman of the Illinois GOP, you got to take this grifter out before he creates waves for everybody. And if he got on the ballot, if we didn't take him off the ballot, can you imagine what our four real candidates were going to do? I mean, Pritzker and the Democrats were behind him. They're working with him. And how do you debate a man that doesn't care about winning his race? He even texts, I got it. He didn't care about winning the race, And so I couldn't get the chairman of the whole state of Illinois to denounce him and say he just ran as an independent. He just ran as a Democrat. This guy's not for real. And
Yeah.
it's not just Kathy Salvi, kind of goes across the whole board. right? I mean, all the way throughout. There's very few fighters at all the different levels of the Republican Party, from the RNC down to the Illinois GOP, down to the county, to the township. They're a bunch of
Yeah.
pussies, and they have to realize. And I said this over and over again: we're in a war. People don't know we're in the war, and we're losing. Unless you
Yeah.
start acting like we're in a war, we're going to get our fucking asses kicked, right? And this stuff with Maduro, this guy is destabilizing our country. So you
Yeah.
want, I guess, before we do go ahead. Why don't you talk, Mike? Then when you're done, put up the boat video. And before you do that, when you're ready, I just want to say something before you do that. So go ahead.
No worries. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with these weak GOP or RNC parties in most states right now is they're still in this mode. They want to reach across the aisle and work with the Democrats. The Democrats want to murder us in the streets. They've made that pretty clear. You can't work with people that want to kill you. You got to get off the bench and get into the fight. And if you're not capable of that, or you don't want to get mean or get in the mud with the pigs, then this isn't the time for you to be in power. We need fighters. We need generals. We need people that are willing to take a stand. I mean, look at this. Just a few hours ago, the House Republicans once again stabbed us in the back, 9 rhinos. They just voted to subsidize Obamacare for the next 3 years.
Oh
Hopefully they
no!
can't get. Yeah, I know, exactly. They just did that a few hours ago, and this is after yesterday. I knew we were going to have problems when the whatever it was yesterday, 7 of them or 8 of them voted to advance the bill. Yeah, now hopefully the Senate ends it. I don't think they have the courage to do it either. But if not, Trump better veto this shit, or again, we're just funding fraud once again, lining the pockets of the
Oh,
Democrats.
I didn't know that's for the next election, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and people have the American people are stupid. They keep the our American electorate is much smarter than that. No, they're fucking retards, especially the Democrats. They're the most uneducated, except for the lead on the top.
yep,
It's for the undereducated, and then you're competing as Republicans. We're competing against Santa Claus. It's like having your kids and
yeah,
Santa Claus giving them shit. So don't forget, Obamacare had the subsidies that ended this year. They did it on purpose. They
yeah,
purposely did it, and that scumbag John McCain is responsible. They did it, and they ended the subsidies. So now they lied and they said it's going to lower the cost. It didn't lower the cost. It increased the cost. And guess who's paying for it? The taxpayers, just in a different way. And so
yeah,
now the Republicans, we just said they don't have the balls. They're not smart enough. The media is controlled by the Democrats. And so they're worried, oh, fuck, they're going to blame us. Well, yeah, because you guys suck. You should have been saying this all along. You should have been exposing it and talking about, but they don't because they're worried about their own little self-interest and their own little individual elections. And then so
exactly.
they're helping us. So now we got 3 more years, and the prices are going to continue to go up because the insurance companies, they all take advantage of it. They're all fucking corrupt. So now let's get into the boat. I'll talk before Mike shows the video. The Democrats said that, oh, well, we didn't see the evidence that this was a drug boat. Well, and and these are open bow boats. You'll see all of them. I think pretty much all of them. And the reason they are there, and why they stay low to the ground for radar, right? So the
Yep,
radar, if you have a flying bridge or whatever, right, it could be picked up, right? The higher you are, the higher the boat its
hmm,
outline is, the easier it is to pick it up, right? So these are open bow, like a big ski boat, basically, right? And they just pack in, and you could see they're bales, right? They used to have bales of weed and bales of coke, right?
yeah,
And they're wrapped up in bales, and there's men in there, and they're flying. So it's not a fishing boat, right? It's not a fishing boat. I think even people
yeah,
that don't fish know what those big fishing boats are.
yeah.
It's
Fishing
not.
boats don't have 4 motors on the back of them.
Yeah, they'd have outrigger. Yeah, it's not a snorkel boat or a scuba boat.
Yeah,
It's not a Carnival cruise line. It's like, and then to Mike's point, they have 4 engines. They have 4 high-speed engines, right? And so what the video Mike's gonna show is that, you'll be able to see. It's hard to see because of the vision and stuff, and the military cameras. You could see if you look closely, right? There's bushels of drugs in there. And I know from back in the 80s, and if you guys are old people remember Miami Vice and stuff, and the guys I work with they had those long scarabs and shit, right? It's a little bit different because the sophistication and the drug cartels got more sophisticated, and they have these specially made designed boats. Instead of going to buy a scarab like that, and they would fill the bow and stuff with drugs. These are specially made and designed to do this, and they found the most efficient, effective way to try to, go under the radar, and that's what they were doing until, thank God, Donald Trump came into play. So please look closely, look inside the boat, look at the bushels of bales of drugs that are wrapped up, and they're like hay bales, except it's all cocaine. It's not a snorkel outfit.
Yeah, I don't see any fishing rods on these boats. Here we go.
The first strike was very lethal. It was fine, and if there were two people around, but Pete said that didn't happen.
Does that make you?
I have great confidence.
You see, all those boats had a very low profile, meaning low to the water, right? So they don't get detected on radar. They all had those big, fast, expensive outboard engines, right? You saw if you look closely and if you can't do a screenshot, you saw there was bales of drugs in there. Bales, cocaine. I mean, a kilo is
Yeah.
about this big, right? They make them, they're massive bales. They wrap them in plastic and stuff. And
Yeah, it's as much as the boat can hold. I mean, the whole entire floor is filled with these blue bales of drugs, whether it's cocaine, marijuana, whatever. I don't care. I don't care if it's pure fentanyl. They're bringing shit in that's killing people. It's against the law, and we're actually doing our job and protecting people. That's the big change, and that's why the media is once again trying to sympathize with these drug dealers, make you feel sorry that you just blew up somebody out in the ocean that was, again, trying to bring drugs in that are going to kill kids here in America.
Yeah. Oh, I got a little funny, not so funny story. Back in the 80s, so like it was a lot easier for them back then, but they would when they would be chased and they'd have their go fast boats, they would call them, and they outrun the Coast Guard. They would jump their and back then before now the weed here is like way more powerful. Back then the Colombian gold it was called, and I don't know if you guys skunk weed, I don't know if you know, and they would throw the bales offshore, and then people would pick them up in Florida, and they call it seaweed. It was always discounted. I got a bale of seaweed on sale, and so that's what they do. And these guys, um, obviously, there's so much in there they can't throw them off. Doesn't matter, And they got blown up as they should, right? So we can't hold Trump. They're trying to demonize Trump for stopping what's going on here in the United States, and it's just beyond me. These people are killing so many people, so many people. Um,
Yeah.
it's like enemy within. Another one of the scumbags last Saturday told me, "Well, there's a demand here. There's a demand." I go, "Yes, that's a whole different fucking conversation for a different time. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean we should let these guys doing it." And then this money is going back to Maduro and going to our enemies. It's
Yes.
going to cartels. It's going to our enemies. It's going to, China's involved in it. And then another thing, oh, he's talking of it came up. Oh, well, no, no blood for oil. No, they said that over and over again. And matter of fact, when I was being interviewed on NBC and the guy didn't put it on the show, he goes, "So what do you think about, fighting a war for oil?" I said, "First of all, I don't think it's a war. It lasted like a couple hours. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's called a war." I go, "I don't think it's a war for oil. I think it's a war for it's a conflict for many, many different reasons. Oil is one of it. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Trump said it so candidly about the oil and taking the oil. But you got to remember that you know who initiated this went back 50 years. We helped them build their oil. So when he said they took our oil, right? When he said they took our oil, when they, meaning the Venezuelan dictator, took it and gave it to China and Russia and starved his people, all these leftist scumbags, right?
Yep.
Well, when he said there was contracts, lease, oil wells, innovation, technology that we the oil companies, not of taxpayers, invested, and it was taken from them by the communists. They just took it, said, fuck you. They had long-term leases and they had contracts in place. Everything was agreed upon and they took it. So when Trump says that they took our oil, yes, it's their oil under their country, but we were the ones that were able to bring it up, right?
Hmm.
Refine it and sell it for them. If not, it would have been just oil under the country. And they stole it from us. They stole the agreements of all the investments of the technology and innovation that we put into building those oil wells. So that's what he's talking about, right? And
Yes.
it's not just about that, right? It's about the drugs. It's about China. It's about Iran. It's about Russia. And they didn't put this in either WGN or NBC, right? And then it's also the voting machines, right? And lastly, which is probably equally important as all the other ones, it's the invasion of the criminal element, Trendelargua. They opened up their psych hospitals. I think that's how Severino got in here.
It might
They
be.
I know, I'm sorry, I should be moving on. And they flooded the whole country with these criminals, right? To take over and destroy neighborhoods, especially primarily in the Democrat minority neighborhoods throughout the city of Chicago. We are one of the
Yeah.
main hubs. And I know we got a lot of new viewers. I'm starting to put stuff on back on Facebook now. And I confronted Trent Largo more than anybody in the country, more than anybody. I'm not bragging. I'm telling the truth. Michael know that. I
Yeah.
confronted them face to face. I got inside their shelters because I'm Italian. They thought I was Venezuelan until I couldn't speak Spanish. I got caught. I got kicked out. I'll put those videos out there in the future. But these guys were bringing criminal elements into organized crime into our neighborhoods. So Trendelargua started back in 1994, and you'll see that they have the Chicago Bulls internationally. Michael Jordan, his number 24, I think it is. That all
23 originally.
23. Okay, I don't know. I didn't watch back. Is it 23? Yeah, 24. That was
Yes.
close. Can't
Yeah,
remember
one off.
they
Either
had
way.
in the
Yeah.
80s and 90s. I don't remember. That's their gang colors. That's their gang colors, not just because of Chicago. That's their gang colors. But we had the massive influx. So the Biden administration would purposely send Venezuelans here. Yes, Governor Abbott in the beginning had busloads here, but after that, it was all the NGOs, Catholic Charities. They sent them. They had 27 shelters throughout the city of Chicago, full of Venezuelans. After I got into two of the shelters, I'm like, okay, they keep telling us that these Venezuelans create less crimes than us, right? We as Americans create more crimes. And so I saw the metal detectors. So like you walk through, like at the airport. And then on the other side, after they go through the metal detectors, everybody, they wand them with the little wands. And I'm like, wait, these are like people that commit less crime than us. What are you doing? You don't even need a metal detector. I'm being sarcastic. So when I saw it in the second one, then I started looking in the windows. They made it harder to sneak in. I'm like, oh my God, every one of these has like 4 or 5 security guards there in the beginning. So I started running FOIAs, and we're gonna show that in a second. The one FOIA that we're gonna show, oh man, itchy nose. The one big old Dago nose is itchy. I'm sorry. The
Huh.
one FOIA that we're gonna show is the Standard Club, which is right downtown. Matter of fact, it's right by the Federal Plaza where I went last Saturday. I parked right in front of it, and it was so ironic. 2 years ago when I was there, it was full of Venezuelans. I hosted the New York Post. They did a story on that, and we got inside there. That's the third one I got inside. I forgot about that, but it's empty now. I did a FOIA for like 13, 14 months. A FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act. And I sent it for the Chicago Police Department. They had 700 times the Chicago police were called to that one of 27 shelters. 700 times in a little over a year. The police
That's
were
crazy.
just think about that. Think about the cost. We don't even know what that cost because Mayor Brandon Johnson and Pritzker and them, they don't tell you like in the budgets, and they said they spent $3 billion on healthcare. We have no idea what that costs. But it gets worse from there. My friend, I grew up in the southwest side of Chicago. My friend, Chicago fireman, told me, "Hey, Tara, we go to the Holiday Inn that was over on Cicero, 71st and Cicero. and we're birthing Venezuelan babies there. We're called there all the time, and they don't even go to they do go to the emergency room, but a lot of them are born there. So I ran FOIAs for the Chicago Fire Department over that same period of time as I did for the Standard Club. I got 500 Chicago Fire Department emergency calls. 500. You lay that on top of the 700, that's 1,200 calls in a little over a year. You guys think about the taxpayers. How much does that cost? And of those 500, many times they're put into the hospitals in the emergency rooms. We don't know what that cost is. And it's not only the cost of law enforcement and emergency personnel, right? It's detracting from the people they're supposed to protect, the people they're supposed to serve and protect, right? The ambulance. So what is it? So we don't even know, like, say, as they started getting accustomed, like, wow, we're getting all these calls to the Standard Club. Let's beef up our police staff. Oh, let's beef up our fire department. And so what does that do? It causes overtime, right? We don't even know. They're not going to tell us it's overtime that was created falsely because of the illegals, because we're so short staffed, because we're getting calls there more than we are for Americans. So that's disgusting, right? And so we got
Yeah.
leftists are telling us they don't commit crimes. Maduro doesn't sell drugs. He didn't work with China. Oh, and one of the leftists told me, I said, I got an argument with this old fucker. And then he's like, well, who cares what they want to do with China and India? And I go, in Cuba. It's their business. I said, they're in our backyard. It's 90 miles off our shore. They're creating strongholds in Venezuela and in Cuba.
Yeah.
Right? And the Silk Road Initiative, all that stuff. It's like these guys are nuts. So Mike has a little short loop video we'll show you that shows the Gateway Pundit did a bunch of stories on this, and you'll see the one story just on the Standard Club. I just got the screenshot of the page talking about the 700 police force, and then you'll see me. You won't see me. You'll see pictures I took of confronting Trent Largo, and they're flashing their gang signs at the Downers Grove train station, at Union Station, at Pilsen, at Gage Park, all over. These are just a few of them, right? So I want you guys to understand they have infiltrated all over the country, big time in Chicago, human sex trafficking, my police reports say, child pornography, drugs, counterfeit money, machine guns, masks, extortion, buying vehicles with counterfeit money in Detroit, bringing them back to Chicago. That stuff's going on all over the place. And like Mike said, they just shot 2 trying to Largo up in Portland. So you want to show that, Mike?
Yeah, here we go.
I am with you. I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again.
The only time I take a knee when I'm praying for America, I would never beg or plead. Now that's not in my character. You would never tread on me. You try to blow me, I'll embarrass you. I need you to believe if you leave, you can save America. The only time I take a knee when I'm praying for America, I would never beg or plead. Now that's not in my character. You would never tread on me. You try to blow me, I'll embarrass you. I need you to believe if you leave, you can save America. Every morning that I wake up and I turn on the news, can't help but get that gut feeling that
So, guys, like that one guy that close up, that was at Downers Grove train station. That piece of shit Trent Largo gang member was only stepped 40 feet into after he got off the bus from the border, and he's just flashing his fucking Trent Largo gang sign at me. I confronted him before anybody. I didn't even know it was Trent Largo. I knew it was a gang. That was in 2023 in December before Christmas. I didn't know it was Trent Largo until January in New York. Remember the police officers beat up by 6 of them, and the one guy was given the finger when he's going to court? Remember that?
Yeah, and then he got out and assaulted the prosecutor and got out again and assaulted more police officers. Same guy.
Yeah, so I'm like, holy shit, it's Trent Largo. That's how I found out. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm confronting these gang members, these fucking, beaners from Venezuela. It's like, and they're everywhere. Mike and I will do stories later. It's probably more relevant again because of Venezuela and the Democrats lying about what's going on and all the stuff that's going on. And
Yeah.
Mike, did you find out who we got on Tuesday? God, I forgot.
No, I forgot to look. Sorry. I got distracted doing other things.
Head of the CIA guy that was going after Trump. He wrote that book, Little Weasel. That's on
Matthew McWhorter.
No, the big shot guy.
Oh, hang on.
The top guy, the weasel that's now he's in hiding. Now, well, he's not in hiding, but he knows he's in trouble.
Hang on. I'm looking for the notes on who we had on next.
He's one of the guys, the 52 guys that he really led the signing of the intelligence.
Oh, at the CIA. Clapper, James Clapper.
Yes, yeah, Clapper. Yeah, it was. So he wrote the book on it. You got to, it's going to be great. We'll put out information ahead of time. And he talked about how they were illegally doing shit with money and stuff. It's pretty cool. I'll put it out there again. I can't remember the name of it. So
Yeah, I think it.
Huh?
I think the author of the book is Matthew McWhorter. Is that right?
No, I think it's an Ian something. Maybe I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm probably losing my mind.
Yeah, that's what you get for hanging with me. So why don't you
there you go. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. We'll be back next week on Tuesday with even more. Thanks again, guys.